What's up, guys? We're going to be doing the tail tier list. This is going to be an incredible video. So right here, I have a list of every student in Blue Archive that has a tail. And if I missed one, damn, that's too bad. I'm not going to go back and check. There are no alts in this list because I'm mostly looking at the character and their tail, not really the alt. But every photo that I have is what I believe to be the best photo of that student showing their tail. So yeah, it's a little weird, but we'll make do. So there is one important clarification I will make. Even after I look at the tail, I'm going to look at what type of student it is and if the tail pairs well with them. For example, a pullable tail is something I might like a lot, but it's going to be way better on a brat than someone who I want to protect. For example, if those two brats in the middle right there have pullable tails, I'm going to love that tail. But if someone like Izuna has a pullable tail, I'm not going to like it as much because I don't have any strong urges to be pulling Izuna's tail. But anyway, let's just begin. This is in alphabetical order, except the Shupogaki twins. I made an exception because their tails are very similar. So here we go. We're going to start with Akira. Her tail is very typical of a cat person's tail. It's got some length, it's got some fluff, so there's not too much of either, but they both have each other. Damn, a sentence I wish I could apply to me and Miyako. It's not, it's not even in this video. Good deal of pullability and a decent, pretty bad deal of fluffability. Let's be honest, you cannot fluff yourself with this tail. But because Akira's tail has that girth to it, imagine it wrapping around you. The wrappability with this tail is strong. And we're talking about Akira. It's all a plus when it comes to Akira because this student is down horrendous for me. And I am down horrendous for her too. It's like a jack of all trades, which is a huge plus for someone like Akira. I'm gonna say A tier. Next up, Arata. I don't know anything about this character. So it looks a little ruggedy, but then these little sparks on the outside, I'm not sure if that's because the tail is stiff. In that case, the fluffability isn't as high as it might look. I'm just speculating, of course, because I have no idea. Man, I wish I could fluff their tails in real life. No pullability, no wrappability, because the tail is just incapable of doing so. There's not too much to offer, and even what it does offer, the fluffability might not be up to standard or even above standard. So I think Arata is very deserving of a very basic B, mid B, low B, whatever. Next up, Erika. Erika has the standard Gehenna Demon Girl tail. It's very thin, it's very pullable, probably quite wrappable as well. It looks a bit on the shorter side, probably because it's just looping around a lot. I can't really tell. I don't really know Erika's personality either because I haven't read anything about her, but she is in the Go Home Club, so I suppose she'd probably just be a very chill student, very lax. So in that case, I don't know how much I would like the pullability. The zero that I know about Erika, I'm assuming that the best thing I'd want out of her tail is I guess wrappability, you know? You just default to wrapping. I guess because I don't know Erika that well, I'll just have to put her in the B tier. But because I can guarantee the wrappability and pullability, I'll put her above Arata. Next up, Hibiki. I have her cheer squad alt here because you can see more of her tail here than in her base form. While a dog's tail doesn't have that much length, so it's virtually unpullable, unfluffable, it is fluffable at a very short range. But judging that this is Hibiki, you know, maybe being at a very short proximity to Hibiki is a good thing. There's not too much pullability because you don't have that much to go off of. But honestly, the way that it's curling, maybe I'm wrong. Hibiki's tail is probably around the range of Erika's tail. It's got a lot to offer, but not as much as I would like for it to offer. So I will put it right below Erika. All right, next up is the Shupogakis. Let's start with Nozomi because she's on the left. Let me get one thing straight. The Shupogakis are gakis. They are brats, which means that the fact that these tails are super pullable is a godsend. I don't know if GSC president Kuzunoha, I don't know who's the leading force here. John Nexon is the visionary. Let's give them tails that can just be yanked, and for that alone, top notch. And let's just go to Hikari's to confirm. Same thing. If not, Hikari's I think is even more pullable just because Hikari gives less bratty vibes than Nozomi. So both of them, S tier. S tier, not even pull, I said yank, and I will stick to that word. Yank those tails. Lost my train of thought. Next up, ibuki. So, I'm choosing my words very carefully here. As we all know, ibuki is a demon girl, and her complexion, her composition, gives off succubus vibes. Meaning there's no issue. Since ibuki is a small character by design, her tail, her wings, everything, her horns, her pout, most adorable thing on the planet, it's small. There's not as much to offer as even the Shupogakis, Erika, Akira, etc. Even though ibuki is super precious, actually because ibuki is super precious, you're not going to get too much value out of it. I guess ibuki would be like B tier because I think ibuki needs to grow. Only in this case, mid B tier. Alright, next up, iori. Iori has a lot to offer. Iori's not a brat per se, but I think some of the things she does make her deserve some pulling as correction, right? So the fact that her tail can be pulled is a massive plus. Now, like we said, Iori's not a brat. Alright, she's got that cute side to her, which is evident right here. She's got that emotional side to her. So when she does show that side and is not just getting angry, that tail can be used for the other awesome purpose, rapping. And that's what makes these kinds of tails so incredible. They've got massive pullability, but when you need to, they've got also incredible rap ability. So I think Iori all around awesome. So I'm gonna at least put her above Akira. I think top of A is fair. Next up, Izuna. So Izuna, her tail is the fluffiest one so far. Super fluffy. Just imagine burying your face in that tail. And because it's Izuna, she would absolutely let you. It'd be super comforting and it'd just be a wonderful experience. I see no downsides. I think Izuna having a fluffable tail goes great. It goes perfectly with her character. And sometimes you just need that comforting fluffiness. So I'm going to put her probably between the two characters in the A tier. And also, I gave you a sneak peek of every other character that had cringe taillessness, as you can see. But anyway, let's get back on script. Next up, Kasumi. So Kasumi, her tail has got a lot of girth to it at the base. So, like Akira's, it's got some good rapping potential. So maybe it'll be a little harder to pull because of its girth. The pulling potential is not too bad. Obviously, there's like zero fluff potential here. But that's just the nature of these kinds of tails. So while the rapping is nice, I don't know if that fits with Kasumi's personality. I think I'm gonna have to say like low B tier, but I will still keep her above Arata. Alright, next up, Kikyou. She has two tails, S tier, it's not even a question. Alright, next up, Megu. So Megu, you can't really see it too well. I guess her tail is similar to Iori's. Megu's expression says that rapping is very crucial for someone like her. I don't know too much about Megu, so it's all speculation for me. But it seems that I guess the rap ability is still decent on this one. I don't think Megu is the type of person that has to be pulled, even though she is in Hot Springs dev, so maybe they need some correction once in a while. So I'll just give it middle of the road, like Kasumi. I think it's got less to offer, I guess maybe than even Arata, so I'll put her underneath her. Next up, Michiru. So like Izuna, Michiru's tail is super fluffable. As we can see here, the pullability, non-existent. The rap ability, non-existent. The fluffability, very high. Izuna's tail was super fluffable. This one's alright. It's similar to basically Hibiki's. I'm going to be biased here and say I'd rather be closer to Hibiki than Michiru, so I'll put her underneath Hibiki. Alright, next up, we got the Saiba twins, starting with Midori. So the weird thing about the Saiba twins' tails is that their ears are fake, but obviously their tails are, what's the word, prehensile? Yeah, prehensile. Yeah, so her tail is prehensile. But why? Who knows? Anyway, it's Midori. So I mean, the tails are very short, as you can tell, but from here, I assume from here to here is a decent bit of distance. But Midori and Momoi are small characters in nature, so it's actually not that much. So the wrap ability, even though the potential is strong because of the nature of Midori's character, just because of the size of her character, there's not that much to offer. The pull ability, again, like I said with the ears, I'm a little bit worried about that. The fluff ability, if they're like plastic, no. If they're fur, sure. I sincerely doubt that those tails are fur though. I think they're plastic. So unfortunately, their tails don't have that much to offer, which is C tier. Because, I mean, the tail can be wrapped if it's prehensile, like it shows there. I'm having a tough time believing that these tails are real. I'm compelled to just say no. I refuse to believe it. I will have to say I'm just gonna put her right with Midori. At least in the pic I showed, Midori's tail looked prehensile. For Momoi, I can barely even tell. I mean, I guess because it's not stiff, probably. They're probably quote unquote real, but that's still sus. We're just gonna move on to Momoka. So the wrap ability of Momoka's tail is very high. Same thing with Kasumi's. It's very similar to Kasumi's. Momoka is a small character, but her tail is very large. Fluffiness, probably not. I think this is a dragon's tail, so you're not gonna really be getting that much of that. The nature of Momoka's character makes it difficult for me to justify giving it a high ranking because it's wrappable. And honestly, like her tail and Kasumi's tail serve like the same purpose for the same character with like similar sizes. I'll probably choose Momoka's tail because I said so. Next up, Seia. Her tail is very short, and so is she. So there's not too much value you can get out of this. It's a little thicker like Akira's. And what was the other one? Wrapping. That's not happening. She's short. Her tail's short. That's not happening. So like the Saiba twins, her tail is just not serving any purpose. And honestly, to balance out the tier list, I'm just going to put it in the D tier. Alright, Shigure. Super fluffable. Just like Izuna's. So much to offer. Being in close proximity to Shigure, I don't think she's as comforting as Izuna, so it's not as big of a plus, and Izuna's tail, of course, is way larger, way more fluffable. This one still got a good deal of fluffability. The way it's curling, it's leading me to believe that it can be wrapped. It can't really be pulled, it's massive. But honestly, Shigure's not too bad to be nearby, so I can justify, fluffing it. But it's not as much to offer as Izuna's, but still, Shigure is a nice character, and it's nice to be with her, so I will give her very bottom of A tier. Sumomo, next. Like Momoka, because they're related, Sumomo's tail looks way more pullable, way more wrappable too, because it's not as thick. What I'm looking at here is a tail with more potential than Kasumi's and Momoka's. And maybe even ibuki and michiru, just saying, like, her tail's got a lot to offer, even though she's also a small character, like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including her 6. It's still, I think, very solid in terms of the girth and length, so we'll put her there. 2 more. Let's go Wakamo. Wakamo's tail is massive. Like, it's being tied up, so this is not her full power. Honestly, like Izuna's, Wakamo's tail, incredibly fluffable. I don't think it can be wrapped. I mean, you can try. Pullability, not really either. Maybe if it's tied together like this, it might be possible, but still I doubt it. But yeah, Wakamo, is this the type of person that you would want to fluff? Probably, she'd love it. I wouldn't mind either. Alright, so what are we looking at with Wakamo's base form? It's still tied, and it's basically the same as her summer version, as I suspected. From this angle, wrappability might be possible, because Wakamo wants you to get into a close proximity with her, and I wouldn't say no in the moment. So wrappability, it's probably honestly not too bad. And of course, fluffability, high tier. As you can see, there's a lot of girth. Looks very fluffy too. Pullability, not really, but because it's tied back here, there's a potential for it. So more well-rounded than Izuna's. So that's where she's gonna go. Last, Yakumo. I don't really have much to go off here. I mean, look at her ears. She's hibiki 2.0. But she's got less to show me. I know less about her. She's not as adorable as Hibiki in her cheerleader uniform, so unfortunately, she's not going to be as good as Hibiki. Hibiki's already B tier anyway, so that's not really that good for her. I think it looks even less fluffy than Hibiki's, but that's probably artistic choice. Unfortunately, that is points against her, so I'm going to put her down. All the way below Arata. Of course, as a little bonus for making it this far, I will talk about Kikyou's tails anyway. Even though there's 2 of them, I don't need to say any more. I made a whole video about it, but I'll talk about them anyway. So, unlike Arata's with the raggedness of the bits of fur coming out, the formation of this makes it look more like fur than Arata's. Arata's, it looks like specks of a very stiff tail, but here it looks a lot fluffier. Of course, the pullability is ungodly. You can't even comprehend the pullability of having 2 tails, and the wrappability of having 2 tails is on a different level. Like, there's one and then you get sneak attacked by a second one. There's no comparing it to a singular tail. Even Kikyou is disgusted by the fact that you would think of comparing her to a single-tailed character. So that's why she deserves her spot as S tier. I could make a whole nother tier for her. Hey everyone, allegedly I forgot a student. Oops, so we're going to talk about her right now. So Haruna's tail, wow, it seems to wrap, like right here, this little Mobius thing, it seems to wrap pretty well. So already, it doesn't look too long, but the wrappability potential seems to be not too bad. Her tail, honestly, is pretty unique. There's no one similar enough where I can just shove her in. Shove myself in, you know what I'm saying? I would say she offers more than Momoka and Kasumi, and somehow less than Ibuki. And we are back once more with Renge this time. Now, I thought by looking that it was just an extension of her hair, and I totally missed the scales. So what I like about this one is that it's very long, which means the wrappability potential is off the charts. The pullability, it is a dragon tail, so here's the best place to pull, but I feel like you won't get any mileage out of pulling here. I feel like you're gonna pull and nothing's gonna happen. If you try to pull here, it's too large, so you won't actually be able to pull it that well. Fluffability, no, it's dragon's tail. The wrappability is top notch, but the other 2 are kind of lackluster. So it's kind of like Sumomo's, but better. I prefer Hibiki. So, guys, listen. This time we have Seia, but I have to defend myself. Looking up close, like, her hair does wave out at the ends here, so it makes sense that this would be her tail. But just looking at it from far away, no one can really tell whether that's her tail or not, even if she is, even if she has animal ears. Like, she has 4 ears, what the fuck? Even though she has animal ears, like, you can't really say for sure. But it's better for us if we assume it is a tail, even if it's not, so let's talk about her tail. And it's not a we might as well talk about her tail. Now that I know, we have to talk about her tail. So here we go. Seia. Look at her tail. The only reason why I assumed it was her hair is because it's just so flowy, so silky, so nice. I know that the wrapping potential with this one is just extraordinary. Like, there's not many tails that can be better wrapped than this one, if it is prehensile. And then there's the pulling potential, which, like Renge's, is probably not that good. It's really long, and it's much larger at the base, and there's not really any at the end, so you really can't get much value out of that. But there's also the fluffing potential, which with Seiya's, unlike Renge's, is actually pretty high, because it looks like her hair, so I'm sure it'd be very soft as well. Now, going back to the tier list, the fluffing potential is not as good as Izuna's, and the wrapping potential and the pulling potential is not really as good as Erika's or Iori's, but it's still pretty decent on both of those parts. Of course, like I said, the pulling potential is pretty mid. But on that note, I am now starting my insane Seia bias phase, so she's going to be at minimum top of the B tier. And I mean, it matches with the yellow, so I could just put her there. but I think Seia, with her tail being so long, if it can be moved, it has a lot to offer. But honestly, given the nature of her tail, it doesn't really look like she can move it around. So I'll just keep her at the top of the B tier. Anyway, if I missed any at this point, the video goes live in 4 hours, so I'm not going to be able to make any more changes. So from here, we will finish. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.